morning, everyone, and thanks for joining our Wealth Builder sessions where real estate meets real wealth. I got a cool name now, right? So I'm thrilled to have Krisha Young with me today. She's my good friend over the years. I really like her and I really love her mindset. She's an executive growth strategist, transformational coach, and creator of Pattern Release Framework. And I'm pretty sure she will touch on that pattern release, what it is. It's very, very important to learn about that. So she helps high-performing leaders break free from internal blocks that's holding them back. With her bold, insightful approach, she bridges ambition and fulfillment, empowering us to grow with clarity, resilience, and purpose. It's a powerful session, and it's really designed to bring that mindset shift to unlock, where we wanted to go next, or it's kind of self-realization as well. So our topic that we picked is investor breakthrough, smash hidden blocks, and unlock bigger deals. So welcome, Krisha. I'm super happy to have you with us today.
Thank you, Vinki. I'm so excited to be here. It's such an honor, and I love our budding friendship and just hanging out with you and having nice, awesome chats and all the work that we're doing behind the scenes with your upcoming conference and all sorts of fun stuff. And it's such an honor for me to be here and to have an opportunity to talk about a topic that I live and breathe. It's an embodiment of what I've been teaching for many years. So thank you for having me.
Of course. I mean, we love to dig into your insight. But before we get started, if you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, please use the Q&A box or chat. It's all open. Ask your questions so she can answer it. And if there's something that we didn't cover during the session, please feel free to email me at vinki@loombainvest.com, and I'm sure I will get back to you with the answer. And the topic for today is investor breakthrough, smash hidden blocks, and unlock bigger deals. And I have a small little disclaimer. So this session is strictly for educational purposes and should not be considered as legal accounting or investment advice. This session does not represent an offer to sell or a solicitation of an offer to purchase an investment or securities. So if you have any questions, please reach out to your CPAs or your investment advisors, but this session is purely for educational purposes, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to remind everybody again one more time. Today's topic is investor breakthrough, smash hidden blocks, and unlock bigger deals. In this session, we'll uncover the subconscious patterns that silently limit our investing potential and learn how to move past them to confidently scale our success. So Krisha, all to you. Take it away, please. You need a setting session? Let me see.
Thank you. Hello, live participants and anybody watching on the replay. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to add a disclaimer that this is also not therapeutic or legal advice either. This is just general purpose information gathered that I've, developed over the years of being a coach and working with hundreds of people. But you are the authority of yourself. And so take everything and process it through your own professional parts. All right. So what if I told you that the difference between stuck and unstoppable in your investing journey isn't time, money, or even deal flow? It's the hidden thoughts that you keep believing without even questioning them. So let's be clear. Finding deals is hard. Raising capital, it takes real effort, right? Balancing this work with everything else you've got going on is no small feat. I'm a single mom. I get it. But the reason why you stay stuck isn't just external. It can also sometimes be the internal pattern that you might be running, often without even realizing it. So by the end of today, we're going to spot what I call the lie that feels like the truth. And so these are the lies that we tell ourselves that might be silently sabotaging our progress. Lies like, okay, say for example, I don't have any time. Meanwhile, we've just spent like an hour scrolling on Instagram, right? Or moving papers from one side of the desk to the other side of the desk. And it's just being like, oh, it's the end of the day. We're going to talk about why we do this later. Understand why smart, capable investors stall or self-sabotage, even with the right strategies, and walk away with mindset tools that'll help you reset quickly when things get hard, uncertain, or slow. We're going to look at aligned investing when your decisions match your vision and your values. And I'm going to call out the hustle trap. I'm not a fan of glorifying overwork and chasing without clarity, burnout, and exhaustion. There is no joy in that whatsoever. And I don't know about you, but I am so overworking that way. So this is why strategy alone isn't enough, right? So let's say you've got a really great coach, really great plan, you know your market. So that why are you still maybe hesitating or doubting or dragging your feet on that next move, right? Um, I have seen this play out hundreds and hundreds of times. I've coached like hundreds of professionals, doctors, lawyers, CEOs, investors in my private practice. And I've been doing business development for real estate securities law firms since 2021. And I've spoken to literally thousands of investors looking to dive into securities offerings and have been able to really aggregate the common denominators between those who end up successful and those who end up really never chasing their dreams. That's what it is. It's just like your dreams just die. Two investors, same strategy, same opportunities. One closes and the other one, it fades away, right? What's the difference? It's who they're being in the moment. Who are you being in the moment under pressure? And the ones that I've seen that are successful, and we were talking about this just before we started recording, is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, right? You got to be able to move your ego aside and admit that you don't know everything and genuinely reach out for assistance and show up. Those are the most successful people. And whether, like in my practice, whether that's been showing up and engaging for private coaching or engaging in the securities mastermind I co-host, either way, it's the people who take that step with that growth mindset and then implement what they learn rather than thinking that they can do it all alone. They don't want to pay for support. They get mad and resentful for wanting to learn a new ways of doing things. Like I've had both kinds of conversations with people and it's like, okay, the ones who say, pick me, let me learn are the ones that I see having deal after deal after deal after deal. And then these same people, once they're in the field, so to speak, they remain humble, positive, open, curious, and kind. Are you getting a little theme here?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Whatever you're saying is like kind of mind blowing, but at the same time, I think a lot of people it's just like moving away from the patterns or just like getting into something like this bigger and where the whole universe opens up to you, like how to step into that basically, if you can
Yeah.
guide us through that as well and show us some steps to get there.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. So we're going to look at my framework, my crop framework. So a friend of mine bought me this crop. It's like literally a riding crop. There's an inside joke around this, but then I thought about this and I'm like, okay, what does this signify for me? This is something that signifies clarity, resilience, opportunity, and prosperity. Okay. So what is clarity? Clarity is when you're spotting the pattern. What old beliefs are calling the shots right now? What are your values? What is your vision? Get clear on that stuff. Resilience. This is so important and something that not enough people talk about. Your nervous system capacity. Can you hold discomfort without shutting down? Can you hold the uncertainty of the markets and not succumb to crushing doubt? And we can recalibrate past mistakes into fresh ways of thinking so you don't have that once bitten, twice shy fear mindset. Like there's a difference between being scared and being wise. Opportunity, strategic pausing, and what are you tolerating out of fear? And is there a way for you to approach what you're doing? A different way to approach what you're doing. So I had a client who was a real estate investor. He lost a lot of money in a particular deal over COVID, ended up having to get a W-2, and then was in this mindset of like, I'm not successful, like I messed this whole thing up and I can't do this and all of that. We worked together for a few months and saw what all of those hidden beliefs were and recognized that he was actually trying to recreate the wheel, and it just wasn't working for him anymore. Right. And so we got rid of the plan and we looked for new opportunities, and that gave him a renewed sense of vigor with the wisdom that he gained from what happened in that previous deal. And then prosperity. This is clean energy. What's leaking your power, your confidence, your follow through, right? You cannot help but become prosperous in this. And that's either financially, just getting out there, being brave, trusting yourself, meeting people along the way, getting invited into other people's deals. There are so many ways to be prosperous. And I want to just give you a couple terms here. There's a term, I mentioned it earlier, the lie that feels like the truth. And these are based on what I call wallpaper thoughts. So if you think about when you've got wallpaper on your wall, you stop seeing it after a while, right? We have all these subconscious, unconscious thoughts going on in our mind that we don't even know that we're having. And then these can sometimes rule what it is that we're doing, right? So it's like, I need to learn more, right? I don't know enough. I need to learn more. I need to learn more. I need to be more of an expert before I can get out there, right? What if I mess this up? I'm not as bold as other investors. I need more time, right? These are thought loops that keep you stuck, all right? So we're going to examine these lies that feel like the truth and wallpaper thoughts. And I just want to say, you do not need to bulldoze through this resistance. You just need to understand it. You need to shift it, right? So we're going to be kind and compassionate with ourselves while also creating a new set of belief systems that will enable us to achieve our dreams and the things that we want to do. So I want you all to just think about right now, something that you've been bumping up against in your investing journey. Right? What is it? Is it deal flow? Is it investor relations? Is it, what is it that you keep bumping up against? I want you to kind of like have that in your mind, this one thing. It could also be in your personal life that you keep bumping into over and over and over again, that you're just like, why does this thing keep happening? And kind of have that there as we're going through this presentation. Thank you. I haven't had enough coffee yet.
That's okay.
All right. Okay, so I've talked about the lie. So we've got some fears, right? Like there's a fear of failure, right? Like, what if I mess this up? This leads to overanalysis. Fear of loss. What if I lose money? Very valid fear. But this also triggers playing small or avoiding risk altogether. The biggest one that I see come across in my practice is fear of judgment. What will people think if I go all in and it doesn't work? I see this all the time. It keeps you invisible, it keeps you stuck, it keeps you on the sidelines, all that procrastination, right? We do not want to be judged. We don't want to be judged by our peers. We don't want to be judged by our families. Like this is a big one. And then like having that scarcity mindset, like there's not enough time, resources, whatever. What if I lose, and then I mentioned this one earlier, the needing to do more research, right? Like that analysis paralysis that just keeps us stuck. So I want you to think about those patterns and start to observe and see whether or not you have some of these thoughts or what your thoughts are. And if you're here live and you're brave, feel free to put it in the chat so that we can look at these things. So we're going to look at—
Hold on 1 second. Are you sharing your screen with us or something? Or no?
I don't have a screen to share. Okay. No, they're just my notes.
Wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no. I just want you to be present.
Okay.
So the first lever that we're going to pull here, money lever, is clarity. All right. So remember, it's crop, right? So clarity is the moment that the light comes on. It's seeing where you might be making these fear-based decisions, right? And calling them smart. So let's be clear. What is this belief or thinking pattern that might be costing you time, money, or opportunity? And what is your default reaction under pressure? Do you freeze? Do you overanalyze, or do you rush? Vinki, what do you do? Like, what would you say yours is? And no shame here. This is, everybody has this.
Like about where I feel stuck. Like
Yeah.
yeah. I think everybody gets that. Sometimes when you're trying to do something bigger, you just feel like, okay, I'm committed to this thing. How I'm gonna perform? You think I'm gonna get there, what I'm thinking. And if I'm not thinking that, I do it successfully. But if I'm just thinking, oh my God, I think I'll be able to raise this much money. Sometimes you commit, okay, I'm gonna raise 2 million, 5 million. It's like, okay, would that work? And when I think that it does not happen, it's always less. That's what I've noticed.
Right. Okay. Because there's doubt in that. Is that going to happen? Can I make this happen? Versus like when we have that innocent faith, you know, like it's just an innocent faith and an innocent sort of belief system. But what I'm getting at here is the underlying like sneaky saboteur patterns that kind of like can kind of keep us in that one mindset that you talked about, right? So getting clear, you just got really clear there on what that thought pattern is and the difference between the two when you get results and when you don't get results, right? So then let's talk about like, well, fear itself, it doesn't always look like panic. It often looks like spreadsheets, research, and like I said before, pushing papers from one side of the desk to the other, like underwriting like crazy. Like it looks like those kinds of things where we think we're doing something of benefit, but actually we're just stalling. We're not really doing the bold move. We're not picking up the phone. We're not doing the thing that's going to move the project forward, right? And the real estate game is not a fear-free game, right? The market changes. We've seen a lot of fluctuations in the market over the last couple of years. There's been a ton of uncertainty, lots of rates going all over the place, people ghosting out, people not selling, people, like there's a lot of things, investors being hesitant. But you can be in all of that and still have that faith that things are going to work out, and maybe it's just in a different kind of way than before. Remember, during COVID, a lot of people pivoted, and I think that's what I'm trying to get at here is just looking at how you can pivot in a new way of looking at things, right? One of the tools you talked about in my intro is pattern release coaching. And this is how I help my clients break the fear loop. Okay. And so this goes through 5 stages, which is awareness, observation, clarity, ownership, and refinement. Okay. And so awareness is that first step. So think of an action or something. We've already got you guys thinking about something that you've been hesitating on or wanting to do or whatever, right? So the awareness is in the thought. So if I mess this up, I lose everything, say, for example, right? Now, observation is this belief true or is it untested, right? Like, are you really going to lose everything? Do we really actually ever lose everything? Even when we lose everything, are we losing everything, right? So those like extreme thoughts keep us in a lot of fear, right? And so if we move into clarity, now this is like, where does this belief come from? Where does it come from? Where does it originate? Because sometimes it originates from family lineage, from society, from something else that just isn't really part of who we are today, and we're holding on to a really old belief system. And so if we can look at that and split that apart and say, okay, well, hang on a minute, actually, I don't really believe this. Now we've got clarity. And then we move into ownership, which is, okay, well, what new belief is going to take me into a new direction here? right? If I mess this up, I'm going to gain so much wisdom. I'm going to gain experience. I'm going to gain confidence of having taken a risk in life, right? And then the last stage is refinement, where you just kind of like do it all over again.
I know that's a good one. Can I ask you a question over here?
Yeah.
This is like really powerful. I think the first powerful step, like you said, is the awareness or recognize the patterns. A lot of time that step is missed.
Mhm.
That I've seen in my experience too, and I see people around me too all the time. And it's very hard concept. It's not that easy telling somebody, okay, stay present in the present moment. Number one, it's kind of cliche. Everybody says that stay present. What does it mean, right? A lot of people they just miss that. And
Yeah.
then being aware is, I think, is being missed out. People think they are aware, they are present, but I see people around me too all the time, even in my own family too. They're sitting here, we are having dinner or lunch at the table, everybody's sitting, we are talking. They are physically present there, but I can see from their eyes or I can see from their actions, they're somewhere else in La La Land, somewhere, whatever they're doing. So, and you beautifully said that just being aware, being present is the first step. So, how do we, get to that realization or the recognition of the first step? If you can shed some light on that too, because I know coach really helps you or the therapist can help you when you go there because they can, you can unwind and they can help you strategize your thoughts and give you some clarity. But if somebody doesn't have that and they want you to work themselves just to get started, get the feel of it before they wanted to get to the next step, what would you recommend?
Honestly, you have to want it. There's nothing else. You have to want it. You have to want to become aware. That's it. There's nothing else here because you can't make somebody do this work. And if you either have it in you to want to know more, even if you don't know how to do it, that's no big deal. It's easy. How is easy? There's a
That's
million ways to do it. Okay. It's just if, like, do you want to? Do you want to? So you're talking about these people, right? Do they actually want to become self-aware? Do they want to become aware? Is that something that is like pumping in their heart, like I'm sick of overthinking, I'm sick of this, I don't want this anymore, I wish I had a different life, I wish I could be more present, like if any of that is present within you, right, then the desire is there, right? And they always say when the student is ready the teacher appears. And for me, when I first started this work, my teacher was going to nutrition school, and nutrition school opened up my mind to all sorts of like different modalities, right? And then from there, I started to become aware of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs and conscious leadership and all sorts of different ways of thinking about life, but I'm hungry for it. I'm hungry for it. And this is like a lifelong, like very deep, deep, deep thing inside of me, right? And so I'm always looking for ways to become more aware and to observe and all of that, right? But it's something that is very deep inside of me. But I've had friends and I have had people in my life who are not that open and they don't want to be. They just don't want to look. They don't want to go any deeper. And that's fine. That's up to them, and not everybody has to do this work. Not everybody has to be on this journey. So I would say it just, if you've got it in you, then all you need to do is say, I would like to become more aware. I would
Mhm.
like to become more aware. Right. And then there's like a million modalities, like meditation, like mindfulness, like, oh my gosh, the list is like huge on how
Huge,
to
yeah.
do that. Right. What I'm talking about in here, all of this is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
okay. So the next money lever,
Mm-hmm.
cha-ching. I should get what do you call those things in Vegas? Um,
Hellos, yeah.
resilience. Resilience isn't pushing harder. It's not pushing harder. I'm not here to hustle. I am not okay with that. It burns us out. It is a very unhealthy mindset. It's moving from your center. even when the outside feels really unstable, right? And most people think resilience is that grit, that hustle, that force, right? But there's a time and a place. But real resilience is investing in the ability to be able to hold uncertainty, the market, the conditions, the unknowing, right? The fears, and then and then taking a breath and still moving with alignment. This is the key. It's moving with alignment in your values, your intuition, despite the fear, right? So think about it this way. Think about decisions that you've made in the past, right? Aligned decisions feel grounded, clear, and calm, even when they stretch you, right? Fear-based decisions are like they're rushed. You feel desperate, like overly cautious. You're just like, ah.
That's so true.
Right? Like I
Yeah.
remember years ago when I was first starting to identify this in my body, right? A term that might be helpful for some people is somatic work, and this is like nervous system regulation work that I do with my clients. It's a modality that kind of goes hand in hand along with like kind of talk therapy and things like that to help move through patterns and stuff. Anyhow, so when I was first identifying this like decision making in my body, I remember being asked to speak at an event. And my body, I felt this what I called a column of no. So it was like it just like felt like a big column in front of me, and it was like no. And the guy organizing it was blah blah blah, chirping in my ear, and I'm like, I had all this FOMO, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is a great opportunity. It was for Mind Valley, and I'm like, this is such a great opportunity. I should be doing this, but I was like, no, no, no. And I was in that analysis paralysis for so long that the opportunity just passed me by.
Oh my God.
The guy was just like, I'm over this. Like, you can't make up your mind. And I'm like, I can't. And I was deferring it to all these other people because I wasn't trusting myself. Wasn't trusting myself. Anyhow, I'm glad that I didn't go for that opportunity because it just didn't end up what was promised. And so a lot of people ended up being unhappy with it. And I was so glad that I was not part of that. And that was the beginning of me going, wait a minute, I know. And my no doesn't always have to make sense. My knowing doesn't always have to make sense, to out there, but it's like trusting that within yourself. And we all have those moments when we're just like, oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Right. So I want you guys all, and you can put it in the chat if you want, think about a decision that you struggled with recently, right? And what happened in that? Did you go ahead and say yes on this decision and then end up regretting it? And if so, remember awareness, observation, go back and observe. Like a scientist, we're just going back and we're just like under the microscope and we're looking at it. We're not with shame, nothing. It's impartial. What made you make that choice? Why did you say yes? Or why did you say no? Or whatever, like what was happening there around the time? You got to slow this down so that we can see it, so that when we go forward, we're making more aligned decisions. And then we have way less to clean up in our lives,
Sure.
What did your gut and body say? Think back. Did it align with your long-term vision and values? Maybe it aligned with your vision. Sometimes when we have visions, right, we've got like this thing, we're like, I want that. And then something shows up in our life that we think is related to that thing. It's like, it makes sense on paper, but something somewhere is saying this isn't right. Something somewhere is always telling us it's not right, or it is right. And we have this powerful tool in us, and it is literally like, we don't need anything or anyone else, and when we can really tap into this part of ourselves, this is like a game changer for people, I think. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next section, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. There is another question. I'm sorry, not another question. There is a question from Wilson. He says, I have a mindset to build one and only biggest company in the world that can provide everything that concerns building material all in one place as depot and channels. What is the most important thing I need to do to get the results?
Have the vision be really clear in your mind and in your soul. Make sure that you know what your values are, what your company's values are. Like do a really deep dive on your values, on your company's values and on your own values, which could be different. And then as you're aligning, because it's a big project. And so as you're aligning, you can't do this in isolation. So you're going to need partners in some way, shape, or form. As you're aligning yourself to the people to help build this business, make sure that they align to those same values, right? Like that's first and foremost. Do you guys agree? Do you guys agree on the mission? Or is everybody on the same page? Right. And then use that instinct, like trust the process, look for unique opportunities, basically just everything that I'm saying in here. It follows on from there. Building businesses is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy. It takes time. It takes a really long time. There's no such thing as overnight success. I mean, we're still building businesses. I've been doing this for like 12 years and I'm still building a business. It's just like always being built.
Evolving to the next level. Because
Always.
once you reach your bar, then you think what's next, and then you're
Yeah,
gonna raise your bar and go to the next. It's always kind of evolving thing. Yeah.
always.
100% sure.
And where you are today in terms of your mindset and your values, it might shift a little bit. It might shift a little bit. I do very deep values work with my clients when they first come working with me. And it's hilarious because they think that they know their values when they come in. And then we challenge it all. And then at the end, they walk out with a whole new set of values. My values are freedom, integrity, and growth. And they haven't changed for 6 years. And so that to me means that these are my values. Like if it's in, and they're all interchangeable and they all fit in with everything else. Right. So freedom, I like to feel free. So I want to feel free to express myself. I want to feel free to live my day and live my life. I want to feel free to play with my kids. I want to feel free in myself and in my body. And if I'm feeling free, then I'm growing.
That's true, 100%.
Right. And if I'm growing, I'm in integrity. If I'm in
Yes.
integrity, I'm totally free because I'm not locked behind lying to myself or lying to others. See how they're all interconnected?
That's true.
Knowing this stuff is absolute key. All right. So now let's look at the money-making opportunities that others miss, right? So opportunity, it's not rare. It's often just disguised as discomfort or uncertainty,
100%.
right? Yeah. Investors who thrive, especially during downturns, aren't necessarily the smartest or the most connected. They're just trained to think differently. They ask better questions. They pause when others react. They look under the hood instead of walking away. So, you know, resistance. What are you resisting is a big takeaway question here, right? Because often the answers that we're looking for are in what we're resisting. Are you resisting to become more aware? Are you resisting? What is it that you're resisting? What are you being like, no, don't make me? That's the thing that is going to be your breakthrough. I have been through this so many times. The thing that I don't want to do, don't make me do this thing. It's hard, becomes my breakthrough, you know?
I agree with that 100%. 100%. Because they always say that whatever you are resistant to or whatever you feel, oh my God, I don't want to do it, just do it. It's like challenging yourself to get to the next level. I like that. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, we can dive into that a little bit more. Um, but yeah, like I remember that wealth isn't a number. This is an identity, right? So a lot of the work that I do is helping you step into an identity. You have an identity for yourself, right? And you're not living that identity. And so there's a cognitive dissonance there, right? You're saying you want these things, but then you're not doing them. And, there's a dissonance there. And that's where all these patterns and all of these other like subconscious beliefs and everything's like, that's the dissonance, right? And so it's like, we need to walk you through that to get you into this embodiment, this being of what you think a wealthy person is, or what wealth means to you, right? What your legacy looks like, whatever it is, right? It's like being that in your mind, body, and soul, even if it's not present in your 3D reality yet. You know, that's the key here. Every book, every single thing, everywhere. That's what it kind of boils down to.
Well, let me ask you one question over here. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you brought up very good point, and then you stir my mind a little bit over here. And I hear people saying all the time, when I was in the corporate world, to everybody, used to, kind of talk all the time the way, okay, if you want to be a manager, you need to walk like a manager and talk like a manager, right? So in the entrepreneur world, you think like, okay, if you wanted to be rich, if you wanted to be a millionaire or billionaire, you have to start thinking like millionaires or billionaires. The question here is, somebody asked me, so I'm going to ask you the same question as well. He says, if I haven't tasted that or experienced that, being a millionaire or billionaire, how would I act like them? Because your blocks are still there. For example, you're talking about the money block. What do you tell your clients how to do that, basically, like saying that I don't have the experience, but I wanted to bring that experience to my life.
Yeah. Okay. So again, it's not about strategy or tactics. It's not about, okay, of course you're not going to know how to manage $1 billion in terms of like, and like in an accounting perspective, budgeting, profit margins, EBITDAs, whatever. Like you might not understand how to do that yet, right? But that's why we pay accountants, because you're going to be able to afford to pay an accountant when you're a billionaire. But anyway, like there's strategic and tactical things that you don't know how to do yet because you aren't there yet. You're not managing that level, that amount of investors, money, property, whatever, right? You just don't have that yet. But that's only part of it. If you it's about who you are being. So if you are being somebody who just like is so full of self-doubt, and this is not to shame because we all have this. We all have it. Every human everywhere. Every human everywhere, even the billionaires. Okay. Everybody. But it's like, okay, got all this self-doubt. We're not moving forward. We're being like scarcity. We're feeling fear in our body, and we're just like being really scared, and we're closed and we're tight and we're closed-minded, and maybe we're judging or whatever, right? Like it's those kinds of things that when you can like become more malleable and flexible and open in those things, right? By working through it, then like you become this like more open, right? And curious and positive. And that just like starts to attract other people who want to work with you, other people who want to contribute to your dream, other people who want to make it happen for you or with you, right? That's it. Those are the building blocks of any kind of business whatsoever from a personal perspective. And then what I was saying before, your values, right? Like, what are you valuing? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who's your peeps? Your staff, your team members, whatever, right? Your colleagues, the people you hang out with. And like that all has such a ripple effect on what it is that you're building and what you're doing. And then your own internal self-belief, your confidence, your belief in yourself. And you're like, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. Right. That's how they think. And there's a kindness, there's an open-heartedness. I've interviewed, like we've, raised, Capital Legally podcast that I co-host with Kim Lisa Taylor. We interview successful investors. We interviewed you. And there's this common thread amongst all of them. I was going to talk about this a little bit later, and it's like this kindness, this open-heartedness, this willingness to try, the growth mindset, the lean in, the picking yourself back up, the resilience, that's required in order to be able to build something of that magnitude, right? But then also it's facing every single pushback, you're going to get pushed back 1,000 times, sometimes in one day. And it's like, I can't do this anymore. Becomes, okay, but I have to, and I'm going to. That's the kind of resilience that builds billion-dollar businesses. And then on top of that, then you need the business strategy and the nous and the ability to be able to like handle money in a certain way and like do all that kind of stuff. And if you're not good at that, find somebody who can help you learn or who can be on your team who can do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was like really, really deep and powerful right there. Because thinking like a millionaire or billionaire to answer Wilson's questions right there too. It's not just about spending the money or living in a bigger house or have a luxury car or whatever. I look at Warren Buffett, it's just like, it's like simple living, high thinking kind of strategy works really good over there. I mean, he's a billionaire, but look at his lifestyle because he's so mellow. He's trying to bring other leaders on board. It's just like, how you're helping your surroundings, you're building that network around you, you're becoming that magnet like you're talking, so you're not chasing versus you're becoming that magnet with your thought process, or you're just uplifting your energetic field basically, so you're just attracting things towards you and you're seeing the magic happening all around you, right? So I'm just putting in a nutshell everything whatever you said.
Yes, you're right. It's attracting, it's being magnetized, magnetic and joyful. We were talking about that at the beginning. Like, let's have fun. Let's just have some fun in it. How are we for time here?
We have 15 more minutes to go, 13 more minutes. I mean, is there any questions from the audience? Please use the chat or the Q&A and ask her any questions that you have, any hurdle or pattern that you're seeing. If you're feeling you're stuck, she's here to guide us. She can tell us, because my mind is just going 1,000-mile speed and I'm just getting all these questions and all these thoughts in my mind. Then I'm just bringing on the table. But if you guys have something, please feel free to share with us. And
Okay.
we can ask Krisha. Go
So
ahead.
I'll do the very last lever, which is the prosperity lever, while we're waiting for some questions to come in. So prosperity, it's a vibe. This is what we were just talking about. Okay. It's a vibe. And it's who you are before the money lands. You can read every single money book ever written. Go out there, read the abundance book, read Think and Grow Rich, read The Energy of Money, read U Squared, read absolutely everything that's out there that's ever been written. And it will say, in a nutshell, it's not that you'll believe it when you see it. It's you see it when you believe it. And it's the most frustrating thing to wrap your head around. Okay. This is still to this day, I'm like, but I don't see it. Oh yeah, because I'm not believing it. We are so mired in our 3D, what we can pick up. Right. And if it's not right in front of us, then it doesn't exist. And we got to think bigger than that. Apps, AI, look at ChatGPT. It doesn't actually exist. I don't know how it all works. You might, but it is genius. Okay. We are entering into this really beautiful age of technology now. Things are just going to go so fast. And we need to keep up with that, right? We need to not be scared of it and keep up with it and be in wonderment of like what we can't see, what's not tangible in front of us. And, believe that this is possible. Resources are changing. It's changing. The landscape is changing. We can see that all around us, right? And so opportunities are becoming more and more and more in certain ways, in certain old school ways. Things are just not working anymore because we just don't operate that way anymore. And so we need to walk into the future in a way that feels like more in alignment with where humanity is going and what we need for ourselves, right? And so a lot of that isn't even like in the 3D reality yet. It isn't here. And so what are we going to do? Not believe in it? You know, just because we can't touch a star, it doesn't mean that a star doesn't exist. It exists. We see them in the sky all the time, you know? Every radio waves, can't touch those. Cellular waves, we can't touch those. Light, we can't touch light, but all of it exists, right? So that's the prosperity mindset. It exists. It's already here. It's already here. There's a hospital being built outside my window here. It doesn't exist, but it will. There's literally floors that don't exist yet that in a year from now are going to be there, right? This is existing. All of this stuff is already existing somewhere in someone's imagination, you know? And that's what we need to do, is believe it before we see it. That's the absolute key. And then changing our mindset from like short-term hustle to legacy thinking, right? Not how much can I make this year, but how can I create income that lasts forever, right? I can't afford to hire. Who do I need? Who, not how? Who do I need to bring on to scale faster, right? Let me just get through this month. Let me build something that frees me for life. So that's it. That's what I haven't had a whole bunch more to say, but I think I'm gonna just end there in the lecture part of it, and go into the questions. So are there any questions, or did you have more?
There is a question from Wilson. He says, I'm thinking like a billionaire and also living like a billionaire, but what I will do now is to add more value in it. So whatever he learned from you, I think that's what he's going to try to use. I think that's the best thing, because and the other thing I wanted to say over here, Krisha, is because a lot of people, they go to so many seminars, they'll spend so much money, you know, maybe $10,000, $20,000, $500, whatever, different seminars, listening to all these different gurus, even Tony Robbins, they'll go there, or Dean Garziosi, I think if I'm saying his name right. They're awesome, awesome people. Mindwell is another awesome, you know, resource there. People go to all these places. They will be there, they will be tuned in for an hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 2 day. They feel like, okay, they're totally transformed. But when they come back, they fall back into their old patterns. And that's the reason they do not see the change happening. So what I would say here is, from my experience, is like when you see something, when you read a book, or when you hear somebody sharing something good that you feel like, oh my God, it's just kind of light bulb moment for me. The time is to take an action. I think action is the most important thing. Whatever you do in your life, whatever you listen to, whatever you go see it, actually you're going to make it happen is if you start taking action and implementing in your life, basically. And that's the most important thing, you know. What do you say about that?
Yeah, no, that it's so true. Like there's a high that happens when we go to these conferences and seminars, right? But then what happens is we go back to our regular life. And then our regular life, we're not in a room full of like 6,000 other people who think big. We're back in our home, and maybe we're with people who don't think big, or maybe we're a little lonely and isolated, or maybe there's like reality here that is just like, yikes, you know, like that is very, very, very true. There's a very big drop that happens after you go to those kinds of seminars and things like that. I say let that drop happen, because you need to see the reality of actually where you are compared to where you could be. That's where you could be versus where you are, right? And so that's the dissonance right there. But nobody's coming to save you. You need to then have the internal discipline to say, I don't want this anymore. It's like what we were talking about with the awareness. You have to want it. And that wanting comes with making micro steps, you know? And honestly, I have to say, having a coach is really fundamental in this. I have invested over 300 grand in my own personal development over the years. You know, like I didn't just like pick up a book and say, hey, I'm a coach. I invested heavily into my own mindset, my own belief systems. I worked diligently every single day on these things to switch and switch and switch, because we have these neural pathways that are very, very, very strong. And it's not just like, oh, I've read a chapter and now I'm good. No, you need to do the reprogramming that's required. And that's the part that people get stuck in, right? And so having a coach enables you to be able to like have that sort of like weekly, depending on how often you meet them or whatever, like a reminder of like, oh yeah, dang it, I've fallen back into that thing again. Okay, right. Now I see it. It's that awareness, observation, awareness, observation. I spend the first several like weeks with my clients in awareness, observation, awareness, observation, awareness, observation. And then finally it's like, oh God, okay, I can see it. And then it's like clear. And then they're like, I'm never doing that again. And then like the pattern just goes, you know, there's no easy answer to this. It's turning a ship with a paddle. Like one thing.
It's a slow journey, but you have to be consistent, basically, whatever you do. So there's a question in the Q&A says, so how would you divide a problem with mindset from a problem caused from market issues? Because you're getting all that's the media hype thing, you know, all the good news, bad news, and then your mind is going like 1,000 miles per hour.
I know what I want my answer to be. That's why I'm hesitating. You need to really be objective with market, with what you see on the news. You have to be really objective with it and try not to get, okay, it's clickbait. First of all, a lot of it is clickbait. I have a friend who's an immigration attorney, and I saw this thing on Instagram, like something about like getting into the States now is blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. And I sent it to her and I'm like, hey, like, is this true? And she's like, no, that's complete clickbait. Complete clickbait. And then she did a video to talk to her people about like, don't believe this. So yes, there is news. Yes, there's facts. Yes, there's things out there. There's market conditions. There are. And how much of that is also being influenced by collective fear, collective consciousnesses, collective things, right? We're creating some sort of reality here too in that by believing these stories, right? That's a bigger conversation. So it's like you take it with a grain of salt, and it's like, okay, it's like what I was saying before. You see your 3D reality. Okay, yeah, my bank account says this. This is what's happening. Deal flow is this. All these things are real. It's true. We're not gaslighting ourselves in this. We're not gaslighting ourselves in this. And how can I see this differently? Or how can this be true and not apply to me? You know, we have to be a little narcissistic in it too. Like, this doesn't apply to me. You know, I'm above this. That's for those people. This is for me. Like, I'm gonna be blind to that and find the opportunities that are outside of that. You know, it's a little bit of like kind of being delusional a little bit in it sometimes, in order for you to be able to like not get so mired and locked into fear-based thinking or doubt or worry or whatever. And then that will open up your mind to see other opportunities that are out there, you know, while the reality of whatever the market conditions are happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I agree on that. I think this is like really, really insightful, Krisha, the whole framework that you shared with us. From step one to all the way to the refinement, and then just taking charge and taking action. This is like really mind blowing for everybody. And I think we should watch this over and over again, because the first time, if you're going to listen to this thing, many things going to be so foreign. It does not register. Trust me. A lot of people will come to the session, they will listen 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and they'll just tune out, or they'll just drop out because is not aligned with their energy, like where they are vibrating. So,
Yep.
but the thing is, when you are vibrating at the higher wavelengths, you're going to catch all those waves, all those golden nuggets that you're sharing with everybody. And I think that's the reason we have to, like you were saying, it's kind of a repetitive process. You have to do it over and over again, listen over and over again to Krisha and her words, to kind of create that mindset for yourself. Yes, I wanted to do something. I want that change to happen in my life, right? That's what you were saying earlier. So we need to add
Yeah,
anything else.
exactly. Yeah, like lean in, lean in. You don't have to know it all. I've been doing this like full time all the time for 15 years. This is my job. This is what I do. And I teach people this, right? Like this is my job. And so I have to know all the things in a way, you know what I mean? Like I've devoted my life to this. But if you're somebody who is just on the beginning of this journey, or you're wanting to learn, and it's something that it's a nice to like expand and evolve, right? Like it's how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just one small thing. Just take one thing from today. It doesn't matter. One small thing. That's it. Drop absolutely everything else. You don't need to know it all at once. We can't.
That's true. Your mind needs rest too.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like there's one more question. I mean, rather making a tough decision when you say, I feel like this is me being negative versus I feel this is me responding prudently before the problem gets bigger. Yeah. Okay. I love that question. Okay. We're a little over time. Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes, that's okay. Go ahead. Uh-huh.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's knowing, this is what I'm talking about. It's knowing the difference inside you when something is fear-based or intuition-based, being cautious, being calculated versus being like, this is terrifying, right? And so like start taking those calculated risks and being at one with your values and being at one with this internal decision-making process within you. This is the stuff that I take my clients through all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. Is this a real yes for you? Is this a real no for you? Like, why are you saying no to this? Why are you saying yes to this? Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. And when you can get there, then you're like, oh no, I know that this is a no for me. It's like what I was saying before about that column of no and having FOMO and like, the I don't know, should I, shouldn't I, and all that kind of stuff that goes in with making decisions like that. But then that knowing, we always know when something is right or not right for us, but it takes a really long time to trust that. It's taken me over a decade to really trust that in me. So yeah, it's a great question. Just like market conditions versus now's not the right time.
Yeah, I think it's just the conditioning too, because whatever our response is or reaction is because of all the experiences that we have collected over the years. Such a powerful session. I think we can go another hour, but we are really 11:11 on top. It's like a good number, 11:11, by the way.
Yeah.
Make a wish.
Prosperous.
And that's true. But thank you so much. As
Thank
Krisha, can you share with us how can people reach out to you if they have
Yeah,
further how they can connect to you?
of course. You can go to my website, krishayoung.com, KRISHAYOUNG.com, and LinkedIn as well. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not active on LinkedIn. But I don't know, I might see a message from you if you send me one there. But I do have a calendar scheduling form on my website, a contact me form through Vinki. I do have a handout with some questions that I've emailed you, Vinki, if you want to send out to the attendees. My website's on there, and Facebook and the socials, Instagram, and I have a podcast, The Dirt and the Divine. It's more edgy and raw, but whatever, it's there. Important. So yeah, those are all the places. Oh, and that syndication attorneys as well. Syndication attorneys, I represent their firm, and I'm a podcast co-host for them, and we co-run a mastermind and everything. And yeah.
Yeah, can you put your website in the chat, please? And if there's any other questions, can you please add your question to chat or the Q&A by the time she's adding her website there. So let's see. I do not see any more questions, Krisha, and thank you so much. And as always, thank you for joining us for the Wealth Builder sessions. Don't forget to take action, apply what you have learned today, and share this session with anyone looking to take control of their personal or financial future. So until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep building your wealth. Thanks again, Krisha, and thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.